Welcome to Resume Storyteller with Virginia Franco, bringing you interviews with industry experts and regular folks who tested the job search waters and succeeded, and strategies to tell your story and land you job interviews in 60 days, guaranteed. Here's your host, Virginia Franco.
Today we're going to talk about, or I'd like to talk with you about how to make a career change without going all the way back to the bottom. A lot of people I know want to explore career change, but they just absolutely do not want to take a huge pay cut or, take a position that is much more junior than where they were before. In my experience, career change is challenging. It is harder than staying in your field or doing a more linear move, but those challenges are not insurmountable. And it can be done without taking several steps backwards, as long as you are willing to do the amount of extra legwork that's involved and do the amount of extra networking that's involved. So I'm going to talk through 4 steps that I have found successful for people who have made successful career pivots without taking a hit with pay or with status. The first thing that I recommend is that you sort of perform a self-inventory. And what I mean by that is you need to know what you know in terms of hard and soft skills, and you need to know who you know. Because the skills that you have will be invaluable or the skills that you figure out that you have are going to be instrumental to a new career pivot, and the people you know are going to be instrumental to helping you. The good thing is that when you have already climbed the corporate ladder, you have acquired a lot of hard and soft skills along the way. And chances are that a good handful of those are going to be invaluable to your next employer. So if you are struggling to articulate the hard and soft skills you bring to the table, or just trying to figure out what they are, I've got a couple options for you. When it comes to soft skills, Reach 360 and the Myers-Briggs Foundation, or the MBTI test, is great. So our DISC assessments, DISC is D like dog, I, S like Sam, C like cat. There are free versions of Myers-Briggs and Reach 360 out there online, but for a deeper dive with Myers-Briggs, Reach 360 or DISC assessments, you might want to consider consulting with a trained facilitator to give you the test and help you to analyze the results. When it comes to pinpointing hard skills, check out My Next Move, which is a fabulous site that pulls information from the U.S. Department of Labor's ONET to determine interests and skills that align with your work. Now it's time for the exploration phase. So we've got your skills down, your hard and soft skills. Now we've got to figure out where to put them. In my experience, career paths are rarely linear, which means there's a lot of career paths probably out there that are a great fit for your skills that you didn't know exist. I wrote resumes for years, but had no idea it was possible to do it professionally until I began to do some research as part of my own career pivot back in, during the recession. To get some ideas, there's a couple of online offerings that I want to point out. There is a MAP test that takes ONET information to identify which jobs might be a good fit. MAP is M like Mary, A, double P like Paul. There is the Holland Code Assessment, Holland like the country, offered by Truity, that identifies areas of interest based on groups' occupational themes. And if you don't mind spending, for under $10 on Amazon, on the Kindle, you can go through UMAP, which is a fabulous step-by-step process to help you achieve career clarity, offered by my colleague, Kristen Sherry. Taking things a step further, use your downtime to explore by identifying and speaking with other people who maybe held jobs similar to your own and who made successful leaps into something else. Find out how they did it. LinkedIn is a great place to find those people. They have searchable people filters where you can look by past titles and industries, and you can reach out to them. You can do a connection request, and when they accept, you can say, I see that you were in the career that I'm in now. I'm really interested in learning how you made the career pivot and see what kind of advice you might be able to offer me. You'd be surprised at how many people are willing to offer advice. A lot of people sort of get squishy when you ask for jobs, but a lot of people love to give advice. So once you have finished your self-inventory and your exploration phases, now it's time to bridge the gap, to connect your old career or your current career with the next one. Think about the hard and soft skills that you identified that are natural fits for your pivot. I found that project management, leadership, communication, those are skills that often resonate across a lot of different roles and can be articulated in conversations. You can put them in your career marketing collateral, which is your resume, your LinkedIn, all of that. It certainly can be in your elevator speech. The next step is, to me, probably the most important, and that is strengthening your network. The stronger your network is, greater your chances of success. You need advocates, those people willing to go the extra mile to make introductions and expedite your career change transition. If you don't have an advocate, it's going to be a lot harder for you to convince someone to take a risk. A hiring manager that you get in front of, even though you might do a great job of articulating your value and showing them how your skills are aligned and all of that, at the end of the day, they're still taking a huge risk on you by hiring or testing out someone that has never worked in their field before. But when they have someone they trust on the other end, making that introduction and saying that you are as great as you say you are, it's going to help ease their sense of risk-taking. I recommend that you strengthen your network by joining professional groups, volunteer organizations, maybe tapping into your alma mater, maybe forging relationships with some of the people that you spoke to as part of your exploration phase. There are lots of different avenues to find people that are willing to help and to become your advocates, and you absolutely need these to fast track a career change. The last thing that I recommend people do is to really evaluate how important is this new career to you? How much is it really worth it to you? In order to make a career pivot really quickly, you might want to consider a lateral role or something that's maybe a little bit more junior, but still has an on-par salary. So that, depending on how desperate you are to get in there, you might need to consider some other options. If you really absolutely cannot take a slightly more junior role, or you're not willing to make any salary concessions, even minor, but you don't mind don't mind taking extra time, think about maybe doing some pro bono work or volunteer work that will give you experience without your wallet taking a hit. I wrote resumes for people for a while for free. First I didn't recognize that I could do this for a living, but then when I did, I started doing them in earnest to get my skills and my craft up to par. It didn't take money for it. And then when I was ready to go into business, I started charging. I charged little by little while still managing my other freelance work. And that allowed me to sort of build up my experience so that when I was ready to dive in, I was able to do so without taking a huge cut. It's really important that you determine for yourself how far you are willing to go. Everyone's response is going to be different. It's going to depend on how much money they have in the bank, how much time they have on their hands. So only you know how far you can go to support your career change. But remember whatever your response is or wherever you are from a financial standpoint or time standpoint, the drive and determination that help you get this far is going to serve you well this time around. So best of luck in this next career move.
You've been listening to Resume Storyteller with Virginia Franco. To learn more about storytelling strategies to catch the eye of today's skim online readers, hiring and decision makers, go to www.virginiafrancoresumes.com.